Sairam, everyone. We had been discussing the 9 types of devotion the past couple of weeks. Just to summarize some of the thoughts, there were a few questions which came my way after our last discussion. I think one of the questions was, is there a hierarchy of these devotions, like Shravanam, Mananam, and so on, Shravanam, Kirtanam, and so on. And the reality is that Swami has told us that we can pick any one of the paths and reach him. But that means that it's not necessarily a hierarchy. It's just not different stages in devotion. But in Ramakatha Rasavahini, when Swami is writing about Rama talking to Shabari, he says Shabari had practiced all the types of devotions and she was ready to come to him. So what it means is, even though if we start one of the paths, before we reach the ultimate goal of merging with God, we would have covered all other types as well. It's like Jnana Marga, Karma Marga, and Bhakti Marga. Even though we may think that we are following one Marga, actually in life we will be covering all other Margas as well. That is how a well-rounded devotee will be ready to reach God. So those were just some thoughts which I thought I will share. If there are any questions, we can talk about them. Else we will proceed with the next topic which we have chosen, which is types of gurus. So if no one has any questions, maybe I will ask Sister Kalyani to read the selection.
Eight types of gurus and their functions. Today is a sacred day of Guru Purnima. Bharatiyas have held the view that one should try to sublimate one's life by seeking a guru and acting according to his teaching. There are 8 types of gurus. 1. Bodha Guru. 2. Veda Guru. 3. Nishiddha Guru. 4. Kamya Guru. 5. Vachaka Guru. 6. Suchaka Guru. 7. Karana Guru. 8. Vihita Guru. Bodha Guru teaches the Sastras and encourages the pupil to act according to Sastric injunctions. The Veda Guru imparts the inner meaning of the Vedas, establishes the pupil in spiritual truths, and turns his mind toward God.
Okay, Sairam, everyone. So Swami is talking about the 8 types of gurus, and Swami has given us a definition of two of them. I think the names are pretty straight. Names will be discussed, and if anyone has something to comment on what the Bodha Guru and Veda Guru are, I would encourage anyone who has something or who have done some research on this to share what you have in your mind, please. I guess no one is willing to, or no one wants to say anything, or so expect me to say. So I think I will say whatever I understand from this. I think it may be better to actually to listen to Swami's discourse and listen to it more clearly, but once I will try my best. So Bodha Guru basically is someone who teaches the Shastras and encourages So can you, sorry, I don't know whether, Kalyani, did you hear me at all?
No, we lost you soon after you started speaking.
Okay, sorry. I'm having some technical challenges here. So Swami has spoken to us about the types of gurus. Two gurus Swami has talked about. One is the Bodha Guru, who teaches Shastras and encourages the pupil to act according to Shastric injunctions, as Swami says. Bodha Guru is somebody who just explains the Shastras and encourages the disciple to practice them and describes means by which they can practice the Shastras. That is the extent to which a Bodha Guru guides the disciples. And all these gurus are actually related to only a spiritual path. Even in the spiritual path, we can have varieties of gurus. These list of 8 gurus do not relate to any worldly teaching. So the Bodha Guru actually teaches the Shastras as they are and encourages the pupils to practice them. And the Veda Guru, as it's stated here, the Tattvartha is the word Swami uses. And there are certain principles in the Vedas, and the Veda person teaches the disciples what those principles are, and through that process turns the mind of the disciple towards God. So that is the definition Swami has given for Veda Guru. I don't know if there are questions or anyone would like to share something about this.
Can you just
Sairam, what is Bodha means? Like in Svajnana Bodham, we say that, but what is Bodha actually means? The word defines, how is that defines?
So the Bodha is basically someone who teaches. In Tamil, they will say Bodhanai. So the person is basically a teacher in the sense that to some extent you can say they go through the literal meanings of the Shastras and explains the Shastras so the disciple can understand at what to say a simple level to understand the Shastric injunctions, the meanings. For example, if you have someone, even if somebody is teaching a shloka, they will say these are the words in the shloka, these are the lyrics, and this is the meaning of these words and things like that. To that extent, it's at a simpler level of teaching the Shastras is a Bodha. So someone who just introduces a subject, you could say, is someone who is a Bodha Guru.
Bodhikara.
So, brother, what's the difference between Vedas and Shastras?
So Veda comes from the word vid. So vid is to know. So that person has got some knowledge of the Vedic principles, is what it says. Basically, that knowledge is usually someone who has experienced a bit more the principles in the Vedas, and so that person teaches from a point of knowledge. So you can say, what is the difference between a Bodha Guru and the Veda Guru? A Bodha Guru is someone who has studied it, who has studied the Shastras and who understands the meanings, and this is the word, this is what it means, and so on. They may have not necessarily experienced and know all the insights of a Vedic concept, whereas a Veda Guru teaches from point of knowing, someone who has known experientially some of the concepts, so they are in a position to teach those types of principles to a disciple, is what I understand. And through that process, that person is able to. So, for example, if you can go and learn Vedas. So there are so many people teaching Vedas. They can say this is the way you pronounce, these are the words, this is what it means, but they may not necessarily inspire devotion. But a Veda Guru is capable of inspiring some devotion because they have a slightly higher level of understanding of the inner principles, so that they may have practiced in their own life, and with them one can learn to have even cultivate devotion, to understand some of the principles, devotion to the principle itself. That's what I would say. So that's my understanding.
Sai Ram, actually the question was because the Bodha Guru teaches Shastras and Veda Guru teaching from Vedas. So what is meant by Shastras and what is meant by Veda was the question. Huh?
So that's okay.
Try to explain.
Anna, you can also say some things about what I consider Shastras and the Vedas.
You know what? I have seen that Baba or the translation people used interchangingly. Even for Vedas, they according to Shastras, they covered Vedas and all 6 that is called Shastras, that Upavedas, what do you call?
Yes. Upavedas, yes.
Sangyam, Yoham, and Raisadium, like that, no? So, yes. And from the Tamil point of view, the Tamil point of view for the people who enunciated the Tamil philosophy, they by Shastra they mean the agamas. But yes, I don't think here in these Baba's discourses, the Shastras usually meant all 6. Lycedium, those things, Purva Mimamsa, like that. So, but by Shastras, all these is meant in many areas. I have seen that when they say Shastras, they include all Vedas and all 6 Shastras and other things. But in this particular 8 types of Guru, as a questioner now ask you that Bodha Guru teaches Shastras and the Veda Guru teaches the meaning of Vedas. No? So maybe there is a difference. That's what the question is now.
Oh, I see. So the thing is, the Shastras are an explanation of the Vedas themselves, because various people have commented, and they have even Puranas. If you look at Puranas, Itihasas, all of them form the entire gamut of Shastras. So Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, Itihasas, these are generally considered the Hindu Shastras. Agamas are also considered Upavedas, and they also may be considered as Shastras. However, they are generally helpful for people in the world, how they can practice some of these principles in their daily life. At, I would say, at a superficial level, they will have knowledge of various Shastras and so on. But when you go to Veda Guru, the Veda Guru talks about principles in general. Swami would say Dvaita principles, Advaita principles, or Vishishtadvaita principles. They can be the Mahavakyas, Aham Brahmasmi, and things like that. So they would go into certain tattvartha, that's the word Swami has used in the discourse. So they are the essence of the Vedas, in the sense one who dives deeper into the Shastras or even the Vedas would come up with some insights and understanding of the inner meaning of these words and be able to explain. Even if you take Sandhya Nivarani or Dharma Vahini, where Swami has talked about even, what is the inner principle of Bali, one sacrificing the animal nature and things like that. Swami goes on to explain different words. For example, in a temple, Swami in Dharma Vahini talks about people say, you have to look at the Shivalinga through the horns of the Nandi. So that means so some people just, ritualistically follow that. I mean, devotionally, with devotion. They follow it with devotion because they think that's the right thing to do. Whereas Veda Guru would try to explain what exactly is the inner meaning of such a practice. So that is the difference between a Bodha Guru and the Veda Guru, is from what I understand. They will be able to ascribe inner meaning to every single spiritual activity or action. Whereas, what I think you are talking about the Hindu philosophies, which are the 6 philosophies: Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Samkhya, Mimamsa, and so on. They are all they also could be considered under Shastras because they are different commentaries, different philosophies people have drawn from some of the scriptural authorities. But not all of them use Vedas as the source or the Shastras as the source. Some of them use just pure logic. But philosophy is also considered a subject for a student in spirituality also. Sahiram, I hope that I don't know whether I confused everyone or.
No, that's thank you, brother. One more thing, brother. The Vedas are written by, I don't know whether right or wrong, written by God. And Shastras, what about the Shastras?
So the Vedas are considered as knowledge revealed to rishis who have attained a certain level of progress, that they're able to tune themselves and listen to God. And through that connection, they have put down what they have heard from God. And that is how they are classified as Vedas. So they are supposed to have listened or heard. That's why the word Shruti is given. In ancient days, no one wrote and read. No one wrote any books. No one read a book. If all knowledge was transferred through speaking and listening. And the rishis themselves are supposed to have heard the word of God, which is not that dissimilar to even Prophet Muhammad, Moses. They also are supposed to have heard from God, and they have put it down. So it is something similar, but the rishis in India, they put down as Vedas. And for many of these Vedic texts, no one knows who the person who heard and wrote it down. So those are the Vedas. Whereas Shastras are texts which were written by saints as explanation of whatever was in the Vedas. Or means, if you want to, they come under the category called Smriti. Actually, they are explanation of the principles in various ways, and even Agamas to some extent come under that category, which is an explanation of a Vedic principle for common man to put it into practice. So that's the definition, I would say.
So thank you, brother. And one more thing. So the Upanishad and Shastra both are same?
So the thing is, Vedas actually we should go through one of Swami's Vahinis where Swami clear talks about all this. But anyway, I will give a high-level description. So the Vedas are considered Samhitas. Okay, Vedas have 4 categories actually: Samhitas, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, and Upanishads. So these are the 4 types of texts which come within the Vedas, which are Samhitas, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, and Veda and Upanishads. Upanishads is considered the anta, or the end of all these texts. So each of them cater to various stages of one's progress. For example, Upanishads is generally sannyasis would study the Upanishads, even though others would also study as students. The sannyasis are supposed to have solely focus on the Vedanta, whereas people in the Vanaprastha who are in the jungles, after they finish their grihastha ashrama or their stage of householder life, when they go to the forest to prepare themselves for sannyasa, they study what are called aranyakas. Whereas brahmanas are generally people who grihasthas who study brahmanas, and they practice, they consider very ritualistic practices which a Brahmin is supposed to follow, and so on. Then there are samhitas, which are a collection of mantras and so on, or prayers, which are even taught to the brahmacharya stage. So all these 4 categories are called, collectively, they are called Vedas. Then everything else is derived from that. I don't know whether I answered your question sufficiently.
So thank you, brother.
Sairam, Swami has told us several times, when you choose a guru, we have to choose correctly. And if I am considered to be an entry-level spiritual seeker, how I would differentiate the Bodha Guru and the Veda Guru, because I don't have the knowledge to differentiate between these 8 types. So just now we have discussed about these 2 types of gurus, Bodha Guru and the Veda Guru. So practically, an entry-level spiritual seeker would find a little difficulty in differentiating these gurus, and who would be the Bodha Guru and who would be the Veda Guru, and whose teaching I should be following. And maybe the previous sessions we have discussed about in when we choose the guru, we should be very careful. When we stick as guru, then we have to really stick with that guru. So if that is the case, as in spiritual seeker, the entry-level seeker, spiritual seeker, there would be a practical problem because when I go through one by one, I would say, okay, I would stick with this one. So is my understanding is correct, or whether thank you, Sairam.
I think it's a very good question, sister. I think these are the questions which actually made us even start discussing about the types of gurus as Swami has taught them. I think we should not have much of a problem in choosing a guru once we choose Swami. But I think just for the purpose of, just like understand the various categories of gurus, Swami has given it to anyone who has some academic knowledge. I understand it's very, very difficult for us to evaluate what a guru is and what type of guru they are. The reality is we have to start somewhere. So if you take a common man who doesn't have the advantage of having Swami, we have to start somewhere. But I think at some level we need to understand whether this guru knows the subject which the person is talking. But I think it is something like similar to any subject we study. So we go to a school, maybe we are in high school. Okay, if you are joining in elementary school, we don't know anything about a subject. Let's take chemistry as a subject. We don't know what is chemistry and how much chemistry, who knows. But what happens is we join a school and learn from a teacher who is teaching us chemistry at, say, elementary school. At that level, that teacher knows more than us. But when we come to a certain level of understanding, or the same level of understanding as the teacher, then we know at what level that teacher is teaching. Because then we will know what is the next level. We may have to go to high school and we will have some understanding. Not everything we will understand, but we will know there's a higher level of understanding chemistry. And then when we go to high school, in high school we will learn many concepts. At that time we don't know the concepts, and we learn from the teacher. And when we come to a stage where we have learned as much as the teacher knows, then we know there's much more to do. So then we will seek out a teacher who is teaching at the university level. And that's so. And then we come to a stage of masters, and then we come to a stage of PhD when we may consider ourselves, oh, we know the subject really well, and we have the ability to study it ourselves through either research or experiment. And at that time, you are a doctoral candidate. So as we progress, we know that this is where we are, and this is our level of understanding, and we should not stop at any level, but we should go to the next level. I think these are the things which a student of spirituality should do, because we should not start with somebody and say, oh, we are just doing whatever they are being taught, and someday hopefully we will achieve everything. I think the reality is we need to never be complacent. We should not satisfy ourselves thinking that we are doing everything right, but always seek to improve our knowledge, and seek people, gurus, and after a while we will come to know what is the level of their understanding. And once we know their level of understanding, so we may stick with that guru as long as we understand. And at some point, if that guru says, no, you can't leave anyone and go and study higher, then there's a problem with the guru and the disciple. But that's the reality. So I think if we don't understand, it doesn't really matter. But I think we have to start somewhere. For that purpose, Swami has given this, because sometimes people get stuck with gurus who are unable to take them to the next level. So I think what we are doing here is just definition of the gurus. We may not have full understanding of choosing or evaluating a guru. It all depends on our own growth and our own knowledge, which we have worked hard in learning. So I think that's where Swami is telling, because sometimes we say, oh, we are having bhajan, we are having meditation, we are doing all this, and we should be okay. But spirituality is a really serious subject, and it needs our attention and effort. And even to continuously evaluate the guru with whom we are learning. I think that's the whole point of the understanding of these definitions. I hope I made myself clear.
Okay.
Anyone else who would like to comment on that, please do so.
Sir, I would like to add the Sister Ananda's question on this. Actually, Swami, what he meant by you got to choose the right guru, what Swami meant is because Swami was not talking in this type of Veda Guru and Buddha Guru. Basically, Swami was saying that there are some people who call themselves as gurus, but the thing is, their interest is basically not the upliftment of the individual, but they are more interested in the financial benefit of what they get out of the disciples. So when you choose a guru, you got to understand what the intention of the guru is, basically, what is the motive of the guru. Based on that only, basically, we are supposed to choose the guru. That's what basically Swami meant by choosing the right guru. So Swami said, if at any point of time you feel that the person who is imparting the knowledge doesn't look for any material gains, if that person is that nature, then that person can be considered as guru. But at the same time, Swami said, the Mata Pita Guru Deva. So guru is supposed to show God, and once God is shown to us, so we accept God as the guru, and that time so God supersedes the guru himself. So that's why Swami said, some people mistake the sloka Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu is. Swami said some people think Guru is Brahma, Guru is Vishnu. Swami said no, it's not that. Brahma is Guru, Vishnu is Guru, and Lord Shiva is Guru. So God becomes the Guru. That's what basically is the meaning of that sloka Swami explained. Even in fact, I would have mentioned something here. Swami used to call the Balavika's guru. Swami used to call initially when the Balavika system was started, and Swami said that the teachers, whoever is teaching, should treat the children as their own family members and teach. But in 1981, May Swami gave a discourse to Balavika's teachers. At that time, Swami stopped calling them, addressing them as gurus. Swami started addressing them as teachers. That time, because the reason is because there was so many new teachers, SSC teachers were introduced in all over the world, and Swami said they are all learning the knowledge and sharing. So they are going to the class and teaching and coming. So the family feeling is not there. Therefore, Swami started addressing them as teachers. I can share the discourse that Swami gave about addressing them as teachers. And one of the Sudarshan was the translator. I can get the video clip if you want. But the Swami said, when the guru is called Gurukul, those days it was there, and where the guru's teacher treats the disciples as their family member. Thank you, Sarah.
Saira, anyone else who would like to comment, please? I guess I think Sister Kalyani, then we will continue with the other definitions, please.
Can I just ask, sorry to go back to the terminology, but just a quick clarification. So you mentioned sastras are the commentaries and other philosophies that sometimes are drawn from the Vedas, but may also be drawn from other sources like logic.
Yes.
So it's not that it includes Vedas. It's not like an umbrella term that would include Vedas.
So it's a very good question. The thing is, the 6 philosophies in India, which are called Shad Darshanas. Darshana means one is able to perceive. There's I think 1 or 2 discourses of Swami on the Shad Darshanas. We can discuss them. But these are what they call philosophies, and they derive their knowledge sometimes from the Vedas, sometimes from just practical life itself. But in the way, even the concept of Veda itself is very wide in its coverage. There's a saying in India called Ananto Vai Veda. That means Vedas are limitless. So basically God is also considered Veda. So any form of knowledge in this world which you acquire with the spiritual bend of mind is considered Veda. So even though the Samhitas, Brahmanas, Aranyakas have been codified by Veda Vyasa as texts which people can study, the real definition of Veda is one who knows. So your knowledge can come from just observing the nature, observing the world, and then you can codify that. So there, the Veda is what you perceive in this world as God, and that itself can be giving a knowledge, not necessarily the Vedas which are chanted. So the Vedas, in their the coverage, they cover almost everything in this creation, and when one looks at it with a certain spiritual bend of mind, with the search for God in the world, whatever is revealed is also considered Vedas. So in that sense, you don't have to. Most of these are not commentaries on that certain texts. These darshanas may have not come from the Vedic texts themselves, which are the 4 categories which I mentioned, but they are coming from a certain knowledge, which these the founders of these philosophical traditions have experienced and put down for people, their students. I hope I answered. So again, in India, these are called Astika Darshana, these Shad Darshanas we mentioned. There are Nastika Darshanas also, who it's a philosophy which says there's no God. But even in the Hindu Sanatana Dharma tradition, even that is considered part of Sanatana Dharma, because even why it is considered a part of Sanatana Dharma is because That's also stage of spiritual development of a human being, even to be in that stage. So they are also not left out, and they are not considered outside of Sanatana Dharma. So that the advantage of Sanatana Dharma is it includes every single human being in this world as a valid, following a valid path towards God. But the stages could be different. It doesn't really matter, because they are also considered part of Sanatana Dharma. That's why even when people spoke against God, actually, if you read Sathya Sai Vahini, Swami says, people who didn't believe God, they stood on the temple steps and proclaimed that there's no God. And the people who believed God said, yes, what you're saying is also true. That was, but we believe in God anyway. That kind of understanding was prevalent in India. That's what Swami says in Sathya Sai Vahini. So I hope even the concept of Veda itself is considered, Veda is God. So once you say God is Veda, it's not necessarily a set of texts. I hope I answered that question, Sister Kalyan.
Yes, thank you. The Nishiddha Guru imparts knowledge about rights and duties and shows how one's welfare here and in the hereafter can be ensured. The Kamya Guru makes one engage himself in meritorious deeds to secure happiness in both the worlds. The Vachaka Guru imparts knowledge of yoga and prepares the disciple for the spiritual life. The Suchaka Guru teaches how the senses are to be controlled through various types of discipline.
Okay, so I don't know whether anyone would like to comment on any of this. Maybe I will just go over this. Then if there are questions, and then we can discuss. So the first one is called Nishiddha Guru, who imparts the knowledge of rights, duties, and shows how one can, Swami says, in this world and the other world, how we can benefit. So Nishiddha comes from the word Nishtha, one who is steady in their life. To be steady in their life, in the sense you have to follow certain rights in the strictest sense. You have certain duties as a human being, basically your varna, or basically your the type of I think loose word is caste, but it's not caste. They're called varnas. Whether you're a brahmana, kshatriya, and so on, vaishya or sudra. So there are duties and there are rights which you're supposed to perform. He will teach them how those rights have to be performed. How do you follow your duties? So that way, your life in this world is dharmic, and that will also ensure that in the life hereafter, or when you go to higher stage also, your life is smoother. So they specifically give importance to the various rights and duties which a devotee has to follow. Whereas Kamya Guru is the word Kamya itself would say what we desire. So generally we desire comforts, luxury, happiness, and so on. Sukha, that's the word Swami has used in his discourse. So we all desire happiness, which is called sukha. So to derive happiness, what type of punya karma, this is what Swami says, the meritorious deeds. What are the good deeds, auspicious deeds, which we can engage in? So the thing is, if you look at Nishiddha Guru gives certain rules and regulations. Whereas Kamya Guru will say these are good deeds which you can do, and what are the good deeds which you can do, how you can do it, so that we will be happier in this life as well as in any world which we inhabit until merger. So that's why the word Kamya Guru. So people can seek out and they will tell this is what you have to do. Let's do dana, dharma, things like that. All that will help us be happy here and hereafter. The Vachaka Guru is a person who deals with yoga, as Swami has clearly said, which is basically vachana, which through what is spoken. Okay. Here, the yoga is basically merged with God, but it also relates to the Raja Yoga, which is the Ashtanga Yoga and so on. He will prepare a disciple to go step by step. You have yama, niyama, asana, like that. Every aspect of your existence is properly purified so that you can slowly progress toward, it's more of a scientific process through which you attain samadhi. And so you go through various stages, and that's why that guru is considered a Vachaka guru. Whereas Suchaka guru is supposed to teach you the techniques, I would say, of the 6 sampathis, as Swami said, Shama, Dhamma, Uparati, and so on. So these are cultivations of how we cultivate the sense control. So there's external sense control, internal sense control, and so on. So that kind of sense control will take us to what's called vairagya, or detachment. And that a guru who specializes in that kind of, so he will teach a student to go over various steps in earning detachment from the world through sense control, mind control, and so on. So that's Sairam, if there are any questions or comments on any of them, we can discuss.
Sam, I have a question. It's regarding the second guru that is explained in this slide. What do you mean by both the worlds? Because this discourse given in 1986, then like 22 years after, when Swami gave birth to the new World Peace Mantra, Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu, it's to pray for all the worlds. So, what exactly is it for all the worlds? And in this quote, in this Kami Guru part, what do they mean by both the worlds?
So, can anyone else comment on this, please, before I say anything? Otherwise, I'm the only one who is speaking. Please. Okay.
So here actually Swami was giving example of Bali Chakravarti and Shukracharya actually to this. So when Shukracharya basically guided as a guru to Bali Chakravarti to gain the welfare in this world as well as the next world, other world. So that time, so Swami says Shukracharya was also keeping his own welfare in mind and wanted to make sure that Bali Chakravarti remains at the top, so that he will also be taken care. So that's the reason when Shukracharya, when Vishnu came as Vaman Avatar, so he didn't want Bali Chakravarti to lose this, so lose the status to Vishnu, because he's going to ask for anything and everything, and Bali is going to lose everything, and in turn the Shukracharya is going to lose everything. So basically, there Shukracharya was basically helping Bali to do certain activities which will help him in this world and the other world. So that's what basically is about the two worlds, and I have a feeling that Shukracharya will fit in the Kamya Guru as well as Nishita Guru's category. But only thing Swami was talking about, Swami has mentioned in other discourses that the galaxies, or different galaxies are there, and there are creatures living in that, and God is taking care of them as well. That's what basically is Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Swami said Loka is basically in mental plane, the different planes, as well as the insects, creatures, living beings in water, and everything. All of them are covered under this Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. That's what my understanding and what I learned from Swami's discourses. Thanks, Saira.
Anyone else would like to comment, please?
Sairam, what I understand about this Kamya Guru, that means is much more particular about the worldly pleasures and worldly achievements and all these things through Homa and all these activities. When Homa is done, worldly pleasures can be achieved. So that's what that is my understanding. Kamya means actually sensual pleasures, and the other world is beyond that, physical world. Then maybe some other planes of existence, purely for the experience of pleasure. That is my understanding. And another thing is both Veda Guru. In case of Veda Guru, actually a Guru, he must have got initiation from the beginning of childhood, and must have gone through severe practices, spiritual practices, and all these things, and attain some level of realization. Then only he can impart the meaning of Vedas and the Shastras without any doubt, and instill in the minds of the disciples clearly. That is Vedas. So that is my understanding. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else would like to say something, please? So maybe I will comment on the lokas. See, in today's modern day world, the scientists are talking about something called multiverse. They say that there are parallel universes which exist, which this is a concept which Sanatana Dharma has always had. So even if you take the Gayatri mantra, there is Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, and Suvarloka. 3 lokas. That is the shortened Gayatri mantra which we chant. But there are 4 other lokas also in the longer form of Gayatri mantra, which are Mahaloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka, and so on. So they're considered the Urdhva lokas, though they are lokas above, an ascending order of lokas. Then there are netherworlds also, where Bali was supposed to have pushed to the netherworld. Atala, Patala, Vitala, like that. Another 7 lokas are supposed to go. So the thing is, these are various planes of existence in which we may be born based on our own stage of development and our own karmas. And so the reality is, when we die, no one knows where exactly we are going to end. So generally a term called paraloka is used in all Indian traditions. It is also used in Buddhism. It is also used in Jainism and so on. So they use the word paraloka, means the other loka, the loka to which we may go. It can be Swargaloka, it can be Tapoloka, it can be Satyaloka, and so on. The similar concept is also prevalent in other traditions of religions also, like Christianity and Islam. They always talk about heaven or hell. And they have 2 definitions. They have one definition called heaven, which is a higher level of existence. A lower level of existence is called hell. Swami would say all these 3 are present in this world, because different people are going through hell on earth. There are people going through heaven on earth too. But it's a level, it is an existence, a plane of existence in which we will be born from wherever we are today. So wherever we are born, if we follow these paths of spiritual practices, we will be in good shape, is the belief on which we are always talking about Ihaloka when we are alive, and when we die, wherever we are born, in whichever loka we are born, whichever plane of existence in which we live in afterlife, that is also will be smoother. That is what this says. It is like, we are in a particular country, we are going to travel to another country. So we do all the preparation so that we are here also, we are okay. When we travel to the other country also, we are in good shape. So you may have to pack your baggage with the right stuff to weather the challenges which you have to face. So what Swami says is good karmas, good samskaras, good feelings, all these will come along with us even if after we die. So we need to accumulate those and carry them with us. So that is what these teachers talk to us about going to the other world. Because if we are assured of merging with God at this end of life, then so be it. But otherwise, we should be preparing for ourselves, just the way we prepare for ourselves even in this world. Like we go and work so that we earn, so that we can lead a comfortable life, even to practice spirituality. So all that is considered. There are some activities which we have to undertake to make sure that we maintain ourselves, our bodies, and our mind to pursue spirituality. Okay, I hope I answered your question, and others also answered your questions, so Bala.
So, brother, Sairam, based on your explanation, so there are so many other worlds, right? So currently that we are living in is one world.
Yes.
And all other worlds are other worlds. That is
Yes.
be considered as a both worlds?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other world is another world. The word para is other. We don't know which one, whichever it is to which we may be destined to go.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sorry. So it makes sense. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Brother Simon. So any other questions or discussions? Any thoughts?
I have a question for you. If you could kindly help me on this one. We talk about Salokya, Sarupya, Samipya. In that, Salokya is living in the same planet with God or something like that. That's what my understanding is. Yes. So where is the God is in which world the God is in now? So where are we going? I am kind of lost here. So sorry, give me some sort of a direction. Thank you, Sai.
It's a very good question, brother. The thing is, the loka in which we live is actually created by us, our own state of mind. So Saloka means, even though God is present, if we are not aware of it, then we are not living in the same world where God lives, because we are still waiting for that God to come. But the person who realizes God is everywhere in this world has transferred themselves to that loka where God lives. So ultimately, it is the loka we choose to live depends on our own choices of are we going to perceive God in this world. If we think God is not on earth, then we are not living in that world. So even today, all of us are here. Actually, we are all living in our own individual worlds. But in that world, if we have God present in our thoughts, in our words, in our deeds, then we are living in the same world as God. So there are people who are living for whom God doesn't exist as a concept even, and so they are missing living in the world of God. That's my understanding. So as soon as someone realizes that they are living in the same world as God, or God is present in the world in which they live, they have reached the liberation of Saloka. I think that's an essential part of spiritual journey.
Thank you, Brother Arno. Thank you.
Silence. So even about it's a digression slightly. Swami is talking about this. Many people talk about Kali Yuga, Satya Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and so on. Swami tells that all the yugas are simultaneously present. So he goes to times of Prahlada. Prahlada was supposed to have been born in the times of Krita Yuga. In Krita Yuga, everyone was supposed to be a devout person. But Swami says even in that Yuga, there was his own father, Hiranyakashipu, was a very materialistic person. For all practical purposes, the father was living in Kali Yuga, whereas Prahlada was living in Krita Yuga. So how we live determines the age and the world in which we live, is what Swami says. Though in general, the majority of people could be of a certain kind in a different yuga, each of us can choose to live in the yuga and in the world in which we want to live. And that's a choice. Sometimes the choice is a very tough one. But I think we can create that universe or loka for ourselves, and the yugam also for ourselves, by our own lifestyle, how we live our life in our thought, word, and deed, is what Swami has said. So, so I hope that answers your question about Saloka, though it's a very long-winded answer.
Sai Ram, this is not to distract the attention of the people, but I know Bhagavan has, even Bhagavan's students have seen Bhagavan's mother coming and talking to Baba. Baba has spoken about that. And also in other miracles he did, he brought the person from other worlds and showed it to their children or whoever it is. At the same time, I have read, you would have read, everybody have read it, in a discourse. Bhagavan said that these all worlds are all in the, it depends on the consciousness, or different consciousness are displayed as different world. So the 7 pairs of worlds all are our levels of consciousness, no? So there is, whoever, as you said, you are bringing in so several things, no? In this Kali Yuga, some could enjoy as Krita Yuga, some could enjoy it as Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, like that. Even in this world, according to Baba, that we can enjoy the different worlds also, no? The can you please tell something about what levels of consciousness as the worlds?
Yes, yes, brother. Anyone else would like to comment on this, please? Okay, no one. See, in one of the discourses which Swami gave in Vrindavan, I think in late 1980s, Swami is referring to our part of the North American countries as Patalam, actually. Because it is Patalam, because if you look at India, we are just below India. I think even the type of lives people lead in this part of the world is quite material. Though I'm not saying that there are people who are spiritually bent, but the majority of the people are living a life of material pleasure seeking. And from a spiritual perspective, that is a lower stage of growth. I think we are all somehow ended up here. But the reality is, we are also in our own cocoon, I should say. We are living in a certain spiritual world, even in this part of the world, with our own lifestyle, what we choose to do, how we spend our time. So there's a possibility. So to some extent, we are living in the same world as Swami, because we are thinking about him, we are talking about him, we are studying what he has taught. So in that way, we have transported even within our own environment, wherever we are, into Prashanti Nilayam of sorts. So we can create the Prashanti Nilayam in our own words, which is what the brother nicely said, your own consciousness, which is what I said. Prahlada's consciousness was of a different kind from his own father. So our consciousness, the awareness determines the loka in which we live. And if we want to understand which each loka is, we can discuss that. But yes, that is our consciousness. The consciousness, how it is comes out in our life through our mind, determines the loka in which we live. Because the consciousness by itself can be considered to be divine by itself, but the consciousness reflected through our mind will determine the world in which we live. That's my understanding also, Brother Saira.
Thank you, Saira.
If there are no other questions or comments, maybe we'll continue, Sister Kalyani.
The Karana Guru reveals the unity of the Jivi and the Atma. The Vihita Guru clears all doubts, purifies the mind, and shows how self-realization can be attained. Of these 8 gurus, the Karana Guru is the foremost. Through various teachings and practices, he helps the individual to progress from the human to the divine consciousness. Only the divine can act as such a teacher. All other gurus can be helpful only to a limited extent. There are, moreover, persons who claim to be gurus, but who are really after the disciples' money. They trade in mantras and tantras. Self-realization is not to be got through mantras or tantras. Only by the purification of the mind can the omni-self be realized.
Thank you, Sister. So I will start with the Vihita Guru. The Vihita Guru is one who clears all doubts and purifies the mind. Swami says he helps the student attain what's called Chitta Suddhi, or the purification of thought, word, and deed, and which are quite essential for one to attain self-realization. So the Vihita Guru basically clears any doubt of the Guru, of the disciple, is the Guru who helps, because the doubts or the questions are the ones actually clouds the mind. So until the mind is cleared, we will not be able to perceive God in clarity. So the Vihita Guru is basically looking at the doubts of the Gurus and clears it. Whereas as Swami says, Karana Guru. Karana is the original reason, as if you want to translate it that, through which people are born, which is God himself. And he's the one who has made this world come to be. When that God becomes a guru, he, even though here it says reveals, but Swami says that person makes it possible for the Jiva and the Atma to unite. He will be instrumental in the Jivi merging with the divine. So that's why Swami says Karana Guru is God, and he is the most, the one who really you want to go after, and the rest are only of a limited kind, and they would help you to the extent possible. Then Swami goes on to talk about gurus of the modern day world, who for a fee will teach you spirituality. And many people go because they talk well, they dress well, their programs are good, but after all, they are after the money of the disciple. And if anyone is trading on various mantras, tantras, kiryas, and so on for money, that is something where we will not attain self-realization, because those gurus themselves are dependent on money. They are not dependent on God. And I think Swami just wanted to highlight that to us. If we cannot have, if we are not sure, I think going back to Sister Ananth's question, if we don't know how to choose a guru, it's better we stick to God himself as our guru and rely on Shastras, which is what Swami has talked about in the Sandeha Nivarani. Until you find God and the guru who really shows you the way, it's better you stick to the Shastras, study them and teach them as your guru. So in our case, if we have taken Swami as God, Swami's teachings become our gurus until we have a physical encounter with Swami, who can directly guide us. The Swami's teachings will be our gurus. These are my thoughts. I thought I would just share them. Anyone else who would like to comment or share your thoughts or observations, please, Saira.
Sairam, why Swami said in this particular context, the Karana Guru is the foremost. When I look at both Guru, the Karana Guru reveals the unity of the Jivi and the Atma, and the Vihita Guru clears all doubts, purifies the mind, and shows how self-realization can be attained. I thought in this line of order, when I look at this one, I thought Vigita Guru would be maybe the higher in the hierarchy, that would be the top level. And also when I look at Swami in that place, and I thought Swami would be the Vigita Guru because he cleared all our doubts through the different vahinis, that purifies the mind and shows how self-realization can be attained. But Swami itself indicated that the Karana Guru is the foremost. Karana Guru just reveals the unity of the Jivi and the Atma, but the Vigita Guru, he's the one, he helps us to go through different stages and clears our doubts and everything. If someone can help us on that particular point, I will really appreciate. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you, Sister Saira. Anyone would like to comment on this, please? The question.
Sairam, actually, the Sister Anandi's question is very, very valid. At the same time, now in the Vihita Guru, clears all doubts, purifies the mind, and shows how self-realization can be attained. But in the Karana Guru is straightforward. Karana Guru reveals the unity of the Jivi and the Atma. So right from the beginning of Bhagavan's discourses, he was telling again and again, all the volumes, all the Sathya Sai speaks, any discourse, you can see that he is revealing, saying that God is one God is exists everywhere, and know that, realize that, treat the world as that, love that, and the one and one only. So, but because we are humans, we don't get that idea that we are also one with God, or we are a spark of the God. But here the Karana Guru reveals the unity of the Jiva and the Atma. You and I are one. So here the Karana Guru is higher, according to me, when compared to Vihita Guru. And this is what Baba's birth, Baba's avatarhood was meant for this purpose, that you are not ordinary person. You are that. Please understand that. But so many Vedas, so many Jnanis have born, but there is no one until today who will tell you, my dear, you are me, you are one of me, and you are with me. Know that, realize that, be happy, and understand that. So this avatarhood, the Bhava's main teaching is that which is that unity of the Jivi and the Atma. And also in the Dr. Narendranath Reddy, in one of his speech, he quoted quoted Sangaracharya's Viveka Chudamani's part of the sloha. Brahmam Satyam Jahat Midya Jivo Brahmaiva Nahara. The Brahman alone is truth. The world is relatively true. Jivan, the individual, is the universal, no doubt. So, when Dr. Narendranath Reddy, in the last Avatar Day, Narendra Reddy mentioned this one. You can go and see that. So so important, the people who, like Narendranath Reddy, who moved very closely with Bhagavan, when he says that Jivo Brahmaiva Nahara, Jivan is the universal, the individual is the universal. That is a very, very fundamental Vedic truth, and the Karana Guru reveals that the unity. So that is my humble opinion. But others can comment anything that what they understand. Thank you. Sorry,
Sai Ram, this is Muthukumar Swami. This is the Karana Guru. The word itself shows that the reason for the existence and the birth and all these in the world. The Karana means the cause of existence, the basic cause of the existence, as well as the living things and the human's birth also, it should be considered. So, what is the cause? There should be some the prior actions and all these things, all karma involved there. So, because of the only this world came into existence. So, we had to find out the basic fact about the existence of this world and the people. So, after realizing the existence only, we can sort out the problems and find the real purpose of the birth and existence. After realizing the purpose of a birth only, we can easily find out the ways in order to find the realization. So in that case, after realization, we come to understand there is the Jivi and the Paramatman or God or anything. There is no difference between the Jivi and God. So this is a final realization we come to understand. So the Karana Guru only can dispel the darkness of the disciple. Because he himself realized and he himself attained that highest goal of existence after realize. So then only he has the all authority and all ability to dispel the darkness of disciple. So then easily the realization happens. So that is my understanding. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, brother. So here the Karna Guru, we can take the Satguru is the Karna Guru, I think. So he's we are coming to this world and we are going through the death and the birth cycle always. So Satguru is the one, he can destroy our sins and everything, and he can stop the cycle and merge with the God. So he's the only one, the God only one. He can teach about how to merge with the God, because he's the one in that position to teach us. So, thank you, Sai Ram, brother.
Sai Ram, brother.
Sai Ram. Just to add everyone's point, the ultimate merger of the Jivatma and Paramatma only occurs after self-realization. Am I right? So,
yes.
So in that way, Karana Guru is the ultimate foremost Guru, as Swami said. That's my understanding. Thank you, Sai
Ram. Hello, someone was trying to speak.
Sai Ram,
Sai Ram, Sister Vasudha.
I'm just reminded of the verse that we were taught in childhood, which was the Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha, in which they said he was ultimately Guru merges with the Lord himself, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma. So I think you're all my gurus. I have learned so much from all of you. But they say that the ultimate guru is the Lord and the Lord is the guru. At the end of all this, I should admit I'm a little bit confused now. But on the other hand, I think this verse helps me to understand that no matter what level, what you're learning from whom, give that person the same respect you would give to God, because all gurus are ultimately leading you on that path. And then perhaps Karana Guru is God himself incarnate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you very much. Anyone else would like to comment or say something, please?
For this, I would like to quote Swami on this again. So once Swami said, when someone stands on one of the platforms or stage, only the person who is on the stage can pull up another person to that particular flow. So, and if a person is in the human level, the person can pull another person also to the human level only. So, in the Karana Guru is talking about Atma. So basically, Atma is God. In every human being, there's Atma, and that's Atma is that's God. So only God can pull others to that particular platform of the flow. So all others can only bring to their human level. So basically, sometimes, for example, Swami said Shankaracharya or Buddha or anyone for that matter, they realized. So Swami said self-realization doesn't take you to another world. It says you basically we realize what we are and we being in the world. So they are self-realized souls, so they can guide them and bring them up to their level in the human level. So only Karana Guru, basically God, can bring everyone to the God's level. They can only Swami God. I don't know. After Lord Krishna is only Swami, basically, I think, is God. So came into the human form, other than Shri Baba. So only Swami is capable of taking someone else to that particular level. So basically, that's why I take a Swami as the Karana Guru, and only he is the Karana Guru. Thank you, sir.
Sai Ram, anyone else would like to share any thoughts, please?
Sai Ram, I would agree with what Arul has been said. I think Swami trying to explain all these different types of gurus and all the details, but he, in fact, he is all this and more, and he can be any one of these 8 gurus to us, as Arul pointed out. At which level we are, it depends. What guru is he to us is depends on our level of how we perceive him. That's what I wanted to say, Sai Ram. Thank you.
Yes, brother. Thank you for saying that. Yes, Swami said actually. So the mother will go when the plays with the child. The mother will play like a child. When the mother is dealing with a teenager, mother will act like a teenager. So with adult. So same way, Swami is basically taking different levels depending on each devotee. Swami is taking their own level, coming to that level, and taking them one step up that way. But I think it's the final stage only he can give there. Thank you very much, Sairam.
So Sairam, brother. So the Guru, the final stage, he's the creator, he's the preserver, he's the destroyer. So he knows everything. So he's the one take us to the final stage to merge with one. Am I right, brother? Thank you, Sairam.
Very nice. Sairam, anyone else wanted to say something?
Sairam, what I understand is actually the Karana Guru helps to put an end to our cycle of birth. That is the most important thing, because the birth is the problem in this world. So actually he helps to dispel the ignorance and darkness and all, wipe out all the karmas, and final goal is put an end to our cycle of birth. So there won't be any suffering. So that is the Karana Guru plays a very, very important role in our life. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, very nice. Sairam, even though I think you were trying to say something.
Yes, Uncle. I've been sort of debating or thinking about this while you were all talking. I think Anantianti's question was very interesting because we can speculate on the hierarchy of the gurus, but I think her point, which I found most interesting, was the fact that a Karana Guru also seems like to be a Vihita Guru. And then if you sort of look back on the list, a Vihita Guru, you can make a claim is also a Vachaka Guru or a Kamya Guru or a Bodha Guru. So what I think is that rather than looking at this as 8 different kinds of gurus, in other words, instead of treating this as a scheme to classify a guru, we should look at this more like a progression. In other words, how can we take ourselves, if we were to assume this role, to go from the Bodha Guru to the Veda Guru and then to the Kamya, and ultimately to achieve or to aspire to the role of the Karana Guru. And I think the points the uncles and aunties have made was absolutely correct. I think a Karana Guru, by the nature of the definition itself, can only be divine, but aspiring to that divinity, I think, is the ultimate responsibility of us as Sai devotees.
Thank you very much, Shivendra. Very nicely put. Very nicely put. Sairam, anyone else would like to say something? We're about 4:50.
Sairam, my understanding is we don't need to stress our mind like which guru we choose and everything. Swami can be, for each person, it's a different guru like that. Like whatever our spiritual level, maybe we can choose one guru like that. What level we are, that is only the guru and the disciple will know. I think that point they will know what type of guru they need, what type of level they are. Is maybe the same person can be the different people, different type of guru. Maybe Swami also can act a different type of guru for different person. I think what type of birth we are, how many cycle we are in, we don't know. No, we are in this thing only. We should, for myself, I don't want to disturb my mind. I accept the guru as Swami, and I don't know my level. Swami only knows. Thank you, Zaira.
Okay, actually, gurus, there is only one. My understanding, there is only one guru. The purpose of one guru is to put an end to our cycle of birth, because then that is the only motive. That should be the only motive of the guru to remove the suffering of the people and make them be happy and make them understand bliss. So only to put an end to a cycle of birth, only there will be happiness and peace. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, I just,
Yes.
before you wind up this topic, please, can you please tell us, out of 8 gurus, we learned before about the Satguru and Jagat Guru too, where these gurus are going to come in, where we will place them, that type of gurus. Can you please explain, please? Thank you.
Silent. Thank you. So I think I will just pass. We can continue the discussion next week, but for today, I think I will just address some of the questions Sister Aruna put and comment on the Vihita Guru and Karana Guru. Vihita Guru is someone who has accomplished. That means he has identified himself or herself with God. So they are at the final stage, at the final level of a human evolution is the Vihita Guru. And they can bring us to that stage. And Karana Guru is the cause of the entire creation. Karanam for the entire creation is, so that is the home from which we have left. And we are going back to that home. And the home has to be opened by the occupant of that home, which is God himself, who has received us into himself. And he will facilitate that. And that's why Karana Guru is the ultimate. And he comes as an avatar, takes a form so that we can lead us to that stage. But Swami is not the form. Krishna is not just the form which we saw, but they are just avatars. But ultimately, we have to seek that supreme reality, and that reality will become our guru, Karana Guru. Okay, and to Sister Aruna's question, Jagat Gurus can be anyone who, even a Vihita Guru can be a Jagat Guru. Vihita Guru also can be a Sadguru because he is sort of pointing to God. But ultimately, Sadguru is only God, as Swami has told in many discourses. The real Sadguru is only God, no one else, because that is the God. Sat means that which does not change. Only God, that unmanifest God, is the one which is not prone to any change, and that is the only thing which can be called Sadguru. But we all, as human beings, may call different people Sadguru, but all of us, all human beings, as soon as they have the body, are prone to change. But God, the ever-present, eternal God who doesn't change, is the real Sadguru, and He is also the Jagat Guru, because He's the only one who can understand different parts of this world. So the real Jagat Guru, real Sadguru, is only God. With those words, I think I will close the session today. We will, if we have to, we can briefly discuss at the next study circle session. We'll be taking up some new topics next week. We are thinking of taking up karma, and that's free will. Those are two topics which people were interested in. We will take those up for discussion. We will send out the material in the coming week. Thank you very much to all of you for having joined today. We'll close with Samasta Loka and Shanti Shanti. Sai. Om Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Jai Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Thank you, Sai Ram.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.